I was 17 years old when I finally understood that some stories are not meant to be told out loud. Some stories. Listen back. This happened 3 or 4 years before I'm telling it now. And even today, I still avoid cemeteries at night. Because one summer, a story we laughed at became something real. Something deadly. That summer, our favorite thing to do was sneaking outside late at night. We were young, restless, and bored. Almost every night, we gathered with friends and sat in the darkness, telling horror stories to scare each other. We'd meet up in parks, abandoned buildings, anywhere quiet and away from our parents. The thrill was in the shadows, the silence between our words, and the jump scares we'd get from a snapping twig. Most of those stories were completely made up. We invented them on the spot, but we told them as if they had really happened. We'd talk about ghosts haunting old houses on our street or strange creatures lurking in the woods behind our neighborhood. And the strange thing was, after a while, even we started to believe our own lies. The line between fiction and reality began to blur. Among us, there was one person who was especially good at this. His name was Nedim. Nedim was older than us by a few years. He had this calm voice, a serious face, and a way of speaking that made every word feel important. While we were all hyper and trying to outscare each other, he was always composed. When Nedim told a story, we listened. Everyone went quiet. One night, he told us something different. It wasn't a typical ghost story. He said there were people in the world who suddenly caught fire, without warning, without any explanation. He called it spontaneous human combustion. According to the story he told, these people didn't burn slowly like in a normal fire. They turned to ashes in seconds. There was no time to scream, no time to escape. One moment they were sitting in a chair, reading a book, and the next, they were just a pile of ash. And the strangest part? It only happened when they were alone. No witnesses. No survivors. Just a scorched spot on the floor, and a body reduced to almost nothing. At first, we laughed. It sounded ridiculous, like something out of a bad science fiction movie. We thought it was just another one of his scary stories, maybe his best one yet. But Nedim didn't smile. He didn't even crack a grin. Instead, he just looked at us, stood up, and went home, only to come back about 20 minutes later with a huge old encyclopedia. It was one of those dusty, leather-bound books you find in a library basement. He opened it in front of us, the pages crinkling under the faint streetlight. Inside were reports, descriptions, and even old, grainy photos. There were cases of people found burned beyond recognition, with no signs of accelerants, no electrical sources, no logical cause for the fire. The book described these as real, documented events, complete with dates, names, and locations. Suddenly, no one was laughing anymore. The air got cold. I remember just staring at those pages, my heart pounding. That night, I ran home. I didn't walk. I ran. And I didn't sleep at all. The next morning felt wrong. You know that feeling when the air is just heavy, and you can sense that something bad has happened? That was it. I woke up with a knot in my stomach. My phone rang. It was one of my friends from our group. His voice was trembling. Nedim was dead. He said they had found his body early that morning in a narrow street alley, not far from where we had been sitting. The police were there, but there were no signs of a fight, no clear cause of death. Just Nedim, gone. He was just lying there. My mind immediately went blank, and then the story he told us the night before echoed in my head, over and over again. People who burn when they are alone. Was he alone when it happened? Did he just collapse? The questions were spinning in my mind, but I was too scared to even say them out loud. We were all just in shock. A week later, something happened that still chills me to the bone. A fire broke out in the cemetery where Nedim was buried. And I'm not talking about a small fire, like from a candle or something. This was a massive one. It was all over the local news. Dozens of graves were destroyed. Tombstones were cracked from the heat. The ground was blackened, and they said some of the coffins had burned. The fire department's official report said it started from the forest side of the cemetery. Probably an accident, maybe a dropped cigarette or a campfire that got out of control. But when you look into it, older newspapers tell a different story. I searched for it years later. The date was September 3rd, 1997. The location, Mersin Cemetery, right near the forest area. And the damage? They called it unexplainable. It was too intense, too localized, too destructive to be just a simple brush fire. And it was centered right around the area where Nedim was laid to rest. To this day, I still ask myself, was Nedim just telling a story that night? Or did he know something he shouldn't have known? Was it some kind of warning? Some people say fear can attract terrible things, that if you focus on something dark, you can draw it to you. Others say some knowledge is dangerous and should remain buried. All I know is this: the boy who told us about spontaneous human combustion was buried, and then his final resting place was surrounded by a mysterious raging fire. It's too much of a coincidence, isn't it? You can search for the old newspapers yourself if you don't believe me. The Mersin Cemetery fire of 1997. This story is real, and sometimes the dead don't stay silent. Thanks for listening.